homophobia rather. How did you deal with that? Because you were not aware of it earlier on, but you are very aware of it now as an adult. Could you perhaps tell us a little bit about this and why this journey and how you changed?
Yeah, okay, so as I said, when I was at school I wasn't really out, either to myself or to other people indeed. So, and I probably would have been described as straight acting, I suppose, so I didn't really attract attention in that respect. So I was fortunate at school, unlike many people. I wasn't really subject of any homophobic style bullying.
But were there any other your fellow students that were bullied?
Yes, there were actually. There were some people, indeed for their perceived sexuality. But for whatever reason I wasn't, so I was fortunate in that respect. But then when I came into the world of work and wanted to start volunteering, actually I started volunteering for a charity that helped people in the employment relations charity where people were discriminated at work on the basis of their sexuality. And I saw lots of cases there when, this is before the law changed, where people were quite overtly just sacked on the basis of their sexuality or tormented and bullied at work by their colleagues. So I saw that, and then you hear these stories at school and you can relate it to, not in personal experience, those experiences of people I've seen at school, where bullying on the basis of people's homophobia against individual students is terrible in the UK. The teenage suicides are high, and many of those are young gay and lesbian people who are so badly bullied that they want to end their own life. And it's not just that it's an issue for those individuals, but actually there's a cultural thing I think in some schools where they don't accept that that's going on. I remember Amanda Stand as part of it. We organised a stand to stop homophobic bullying in an event a couple of years ago, and one guy came up and said, well, I was employed by a city council to look into this issue, and I went around to every school in the city, and only 3 of them said, well, this is an issue we need to worry about. The other said, oh, we don't have any gay students.
When was this?
This was 2 years ago. This was 2008. So, and this is not rural Britain. This is one of the cities in the south coast. And head teachers of schools denied the fact either of homophobic bullying or indeed of having gay and lesbian students. So there is a big issue, and one of the things I got involved with politically was to try to campaign that every school needs to have somebody trained in issues around homophobic bullying, has to have someone to talk to as a responsible adult teacher, etc., someone to come to, and to have specific policies in place to try and stop not just bullying in general, which is always bad, but particularly homophobic bullying, where the students often don't find out anywhere to go to. They don't want to go home and come out about it, and then there's nowhere at school to go to either. And that's still an issue that's very live in Britain. I mean, homophobic bullying is still, you can read about it, you can see it online, there's so many stories. Saying that it's a really terrible way to start off your childhood and to start off your life as a gay and lesbian person from a position of being bullied.
And you escaped that?
Yeah, hopefully everyone will escape that at some point, but it's not a good start, definitely, yeah.
So how do you see the future in terms of gay games and gay sports?
Yeah, so 2 sides. One is what you always want to do in 100 years' time, is have everything integrated, or at least have the opportunity to have everything integrated, so there's no need for people to protest and make a point of having specific gay games. On the other hand, you always want to have a social side of things where every now and again people can come together in their own community. So I think in the social side it will always carry on, and actually what we're finding now is rather than having one massive great big thing, which is a bit like a large pride, if you like, in its own way, lots of little regional things happen. So Leicester will organise a football tournament one year, and then another year it will be done in Bristol, and there'll be much smaller things, which is good because it actually means it's embedding itself in the community and the culture, and then they happen much more frequently. So I think those will continue to happen, but I do look forward to a time when across all different sports there's no need to have big obvious presence that yes, we're gay, therefore we can have great football tournaments. It'll be accepted, and that won't be an issue. And we'll just have great football tournaments because we enjoy having great football tournaments.